And we're live. Hey,
Hey, we're live.
we are live and alive.
Just one more week down.
Made it one more time.
Yeah,
One more time around.
one more time.
I was just peeking on Facebook. Haven't been posting much recently, so I'm not used to getting comments and stuff on things I post. So one of the things today was, and maybe this is something to consider for an upcoming movie for us to do. Um, Possibly doing 42, the Jackie Robinson movie that Chadwick Boseman starred in.
Oh, Recently Dead Guy podcast.
Not only recently dead guy, but today it was announced that Major League Baseball is retroactively adding all of the Negro League information, and they are considering the Negro Leagues now part of Major League Baseball, and they're retroactively inserting all their stats into MLB records. So any records that any of those individuals may have had in the Negro Leagues are now part of Major League Baseball, which is it's great news. It's way too late, but it's good to hear that they're doing that.
Yeah. All right. Wait, are we doing that next week?
What?
That's not what we just talked about.
No. I'm just mentally adding it to our list of movies.
Oh, okay. All right. I was about to say, wait, we like just talked about what we were doing.
No, we're gonna talk about Parasite next week.
Yeah.
Also, for people who who watch this on Facebook or Twitch or YouTube, we are going to be doing it earlier next week. We're going to be doing it on Tuesday night instead of Wednesday, the 22nd, because it's just getting way too close to Christmas, and there's stuff to do, even in the COVID times. Still have Christmas. Christmas will still come,
Even during the troubles.
the time of troubles.
Hey, are you on vacation yet?
I have 2 more work days. I'm working tomorrow and Friday, and then I am on vacation.
I had to do this production push this weekend for, and like the 2 people who did maybe a third of the project were both just gone. Like one was on vacation and one was like having a baby shower for his first baby, so like he was just unavailable. So I worked like all weekend, and I was supposed to start my vacation on Friday. Really gonna be phoning it in the next 2 days. So as long as everything's kosher with that group, I am day drinking like a very well-adjusted adult.
Well, you know what? It's holiday. It's vacation.
It's holiday. It's holiday. It's vacation.
I mean, you know, the last time I could have one of those, well, I guess, we went to the lake in August, so there was day drinking there. Prior to that, got to go all the way back to last October when Julie and I went to New Orleans for our big anniversary trip last year, and there was day drinking there. So vacation equaling day drinking is, yeah, I'm on board with that.
I do love day drinking.
Yeah. And I was informed that we have a lot of alcohol in our closet, in our pantry, and it's weighing down things.
Yeah, so it's got to go somewhere.
It
goes bad once you open it.
Yeah. So something's going to need to be done about that.
Yeah. Also, Missouri has its first COVID vaccinations.
I heard that.
Two people, Andrew and some other chick that I'm friends with, both already got the first shot.
I saw Andrew, and that makes me very happy to know that that we'll be able to enjoy his aroma again at some.
Oh, God, dude, he smells so good.
Yeah, it's that's the first person I know that that's gotten the vaccine, or even that I know of personally, even through any degrees of separation that I know of that's gotten the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me very happy that it's coming. Um, the New York Times last week has had a like a calculator thing that you could go and put your information in to see exactly where you fall in line.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, because of uh, you know, this svelte form is such a it's such a the picture of health. um, I apparently get to move up the list quite a quite a bit. um, I put in the information for various members of my family just to see,
Mm-hmm.
and it was enlightening that uh, if you have any of the like the serious comorbidities of heart disease or diabetes or high blood pressure or those kinds of things,
Yep.
regardless of your age, you are way up on the list.
Yep.
Like way up on the list. um, that that was surprising, like where it said I was on the list because of that. Um, age age factors into it after you look at like if you're in a if you live in a long-term facility. It's not I, I was surprised to also to learn that things like if the the nursing homes, of course, because there have been such problems there,
Yep.
but also the prisons are way up on the list. I guess because you can't really
I mean,
socially distant.
yeah, like the prisons need to be way up on the list. Like,
Right,
it's
they do.
cruel punishment to to hold someone in a condition where they have a very strong chance of contracting it and, you know, having severe problems because of it.
Yeah, yeah. And another good news: the Electoral College did what it was supposed to do.
I mean,
Like
they were going to, like,
they were going to. This is the first year I. This is the first year it actually became as newsworthy as it was. Most of the time, it, it's a blip on the radar. Like it's way down on
Mhm.
the news page. Back in the newspaper days, it would be one of those, page 6 or 7 in a
Yeah.
really small blurb things.
Yeah, it happened. Yeah. Yeah, I was playing around with that calculator, and
Mhm.
it's like there was just the checkbox of do you have any of these conditions, and like the difference for me between those two checkboxes was like 5 people from the end of the list and then 5 people from the beginning of the list.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. I put in the kids just
Just to
just to
see.
see. It's like, yeah, you'll get it like when everybody else in the country has already got
Yeah.
it.
You'll get it when you get it.
Right, right. Yeah, now
No, it's just a
it's
waiting game.
it's just a factorial problem, just waiting for production and distribution.
Yeah. That's exciting. You know, Moon Hooch has a concert in March.
Oh,
So the target is by February.
yeah.
And have that shot. Now the problem is that the concert is in Colorado, and I promised myself I would never drive across Kansas again. So I'm at
There's
odds on what to do.
there are ways around Kansas.
There are ways around Kansas, but
That
it
just makes the
also
drive longer.
yeah, it does kind of defeat the purpose when I got to take an 8-hour detour around Kansas.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's also, I mean, if you're vaccinated, airplanes become a lot sexier proposition.
I have thought about buying my ticket to Hawaii and then Alaska for my birthday next year.
Oh yeah,
And then, I mean, because airplane prices are dirt cheap right now.
yeah.
And by June, come on.
Yeah.
Surely by June.
Well, that's what we're kind of hoping for in our household, that we'll be able to get people vaccinated, with their second shot and everything by June. Um, Holden might actually have a graduation party, like
Oh
with
my
people at it.
god!
Yeah.
It's such a wild time that like basic plans are such an exciting prospect.
Yeah. This would be like, we'd be planning and stressing out over it because trying to figure out how many people to invite and where to have it and all that. Now it's just like, eh, we'll see if we can even do it. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a weird proposition, that things that
Yeah.
you just know would happen.
hmm
Yeah. Well, and in my family, um, so in March, Julie and I turned 50. Uh, Doug's wife turns 50 in a couple of months later. Um, my mom is 20 years behind my grandmother, and I'm 20 years behind my mom. Like, it's so
Ooh,
I
zeros
know,
all over the place.
yeah, like, mom turns 70, Graham turns 90. Like, it's going to be a big year for birthdays. And
hmm
um, we missed my parents' 50th anniversary last year. So we'll be able to do something for
Do that.
that. Yeah. It's gonna be one gigantic party.
Yeah.
Whenever we can have it. There's gonna be one just blowout party. I'll get to use all that booze in my pantry that's weighing it down.
Dinner parties, just as
Yeah.
far as the eye can see, and game nights. And...
Game nights. I told Julie that, you know, I'm missing. I didn't get to see. I'm not one to go out and see a lot of live music,
hmm
but I'm missing it now because I can't.
I love seeing live music, and
I
I hate
do.
that I can't see it.
I love it, but the music I like just doesn't
Yeah,
come to
yeah.
St. Louis often.
It's not the '80s anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's that. Um, I'm like, I told her, I want to go see some more live music once it's safe to,
hmm
and I don't mind traveling to do it.
Yeah,
I want to, I'm feeling the effects of being cooped up, and I want to get out and see more live music. Um,
absence makes the heart grow fonder.
it does. It does. And, uh, one of the things that I'm aware of, because I follow some more fringe musicians, their road crews and stuff like that. Those guys are just floundering right now. There's no
Yeah.
union for those guys. There's
Mhm.
no income for them. There's no um, uh, benefits packages, or they're all basically contract workers. When there's a tour, they're on tour. And there aren't any tours right now.
Yep.
So a number of bands that I follow are doing relief type stuff for those guys.
hmm
Um, Dream Theater released a holiday medley song, and they released it on Bandcamp. Pay at least $3, but pay as much as you want,
Yeah, yeah.
and proceeds go to um, to the road crews. The ex-lead singer of Marillion, he was preparing. He just released his final album. Like, he's like, this is my last studio album. He had decided that years ago. Like, I'm done. I'm not a young man. I can't do this anymore. I'm,
My
I've made
bones are tired.
yeah, yeah. He's like, I'm done. I'm going to retire. I've got a good business. I'm set, but this is going to be my last album, my last tour. The tour had to be canceled. The album came out. They did one preview show for it March 13th. One. They did one preview show, and he was like, "This was the show that we normally do, just local, like a local show, just to work out the set, get everybody used to working together live on stage, that kind of thing." We did one, and then everything shut down. Normally, we don't record those.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, the sound guy that night just was playing around and recorded it.
Oh,
So they released it. They released the recording of it. Yeah, the live recording of it. And he's like, "Here it is. Here is a full live album, free. Pay what you want. Whatever you pay is going to those guys."
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's cool. Marillion did that. They did a weekend, and they put a virtual tip box out, and all the money they collected during that virtual tip box went to their road crew and the stage guys. So it's a thing. It's a problem. And fuck, man, I want to go listen to some live music.
I know. Oh my god, I know. I just want to go places and be in a crowd and not be like super anxious about it.
Yeah, that's gonna be the thing that's gonna be the hardest, is even after I'm vaccinated and know that I'm okay, it's just getting out and being in crowds and seeing people around me and nobody's wearing masks and talking, and
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be weird.
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
okay.
the mask thing is going to be around for a while.
I think so too.
Because we're going to have to get a critical mass of people who are vaccinated, and that critical mass is going to be like in the 90s of percent. The 90s of percentages of people who are going to take the vaccine. Right.
Of the people who are taking it.
Yeah.
That's why, I mean, just looking at some of the people who are talking about taking it, not taking it, I wonder if it's going to take that long for people who really want it to get it. I think there could be a wave of like a first generation wave of people who want it, who are willing to take it, and who get to take it a lot earlier than they expected, because other people who could have gotten it are holding off.
Yeah, I think that'll be less. I think a lot of people will beat their chests about how they didn't take it, but I'll actually get it. I think
Right?
they're. I mean, we'll see. We won't see a lot of that, but I suspect a lot of that's going to happen.
I suspect the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like in this last week, and I don't know if it's just because I'm going on vacation. I don't have to worry about my job for a while. But like, I started getting really excited this last week, just like with the possibilities of things, just just things.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am with you. All right, let's get this started.
Let's talk about some Nazis.
Hey, this is Tony.
This is David.
We are the Backseat Producers. In fact, we're talking about Jojo Rabbit.
Yep.
What'd you
We're
think?
doing a Nazi show.
We're doing a Nazi movie.
I, to date, have loved everything Taika has produced.
Same.
Yep. I haven't seen Hunt for the Wilder People.
I was going to say the same thing. That's the one that I haven't seen.
I think it's on Netflix or Amazon right now.
Oh.
Whoa.
I'm checking. Actually, I'm checking his
his IMDb to see what else.
His IMDb, yeah, just because I wanted to make sure that there weren't other things that I missed. Wow, he's got 25 directorial credits. Oh, some of them are TV.
Mm-hmm.
And a number of shorts.
Yeah. He directed The In-Betweeners? Oh, that does make sense. Because The In-Betweeners is really goddamn funny.
I haven't seen that one.
It's a British coming-of-age TV show, but in a raucous style humor that I appreciate. Hmm. And he directed Flight of the Conchords episodes. God damn.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. That all makes sense.
Yeah. I stand by what I said. Everything I've seen of his, I've loved.
I concur.
Untitled Taika Waititi Star Wars film.
Did you see his tweets about that this week?
Mm-hmm.
The, I am going to be mad about what I am going to produce. Fantastic.
Yeah. So, I don't know. What do you think about this movie?
Done. All right. So, what is happening here?
Someone has it open in Facebook, and I hear it.
Yep, that was me.
Knew it.
I don't know what's going on there. All right.
I don't hear it
Well,
anymore, so.
no, because I muted it.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Yeah, I really enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
When I first heard the premise, I was like,
say the exact same thing.
what? Who in their right mind would make a movie where Adolf Hitler would be somebody's imaginary friend?
Yep.
Oh, Taika Waititi. Oh, perfect.
And also, he's playing Hitler.
Yeah. That made it so much better, because like, who else would you cast as that in that role?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
that's a risky proposition to
Mm-hmm.
cast anyone in that role. And yeah, no, it's just he's perfect in the role too.
Yep. So good.
Yeah.
It's hard to do a Nazi movie. It's hard to do anything about the Nazis and not be problematic,
Mm.
right? Because like Amazon's got that series, Hunters.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and like one of the Jewish organizations is like, yeah, there's some serious problems with this situation. Also, now I hear the echo again.
I wonder if it was when I did this. I had my hand near my microphone. Maybe it picked up the.
It's only when I talk.
Oh,
So I'm hearing me on your end in some capacity.
that might be it. It might be coming from my headphone.
That's
That
interesting.
that seems odd,
I'll
because I'm
talk
not hearing
lower.
it. I'm not hearing it. So maybe I just need to turn my headphone volume down. Maybe that will help.
Maybe that'll help.
Did that help?
I can't tell. So I guess it did. That's the conclusion.
Maybe that fixed the problem. We'll see.
Yeah, anyway, one of the Jewish organizations had a problem with. Damn it, I'm blanking on what exactly Hunters did that they were like, this isn't okay. Don't do this. Right? Because, like, we also have a growing portion of this country that doesn't believe the Holocaust is real.
Right.
So we're like, we're in a place with media now, and that like there's a certain amount of responsibility you have to have, like you have to carry when you address a topic, to do it responsibly, and like. Here it is. The Auschwitz Memorial has complained about the fabrications and Hunters, saying that they would aid future Holocaust deniers. Auschwitz Memorial has treated Auschwitz was full of horrible pain and suffering, documented the accounts of survivors. Inventing a fake game of human chess for Hunters on Prime is not only dangerous foolishness and caricature, it also welcomes future deniers. We honor the victims by preserving factual accuracy.
I understand that.
I understand that as well, which is, I think this struck a good mixture of like the setting being good, but also the premise being so ridiculous that like that wasn't an issue.
Yes, I agree. In that way, it reminds me of the movie Dick. that was set during Nixon's when Watergate was going on, and um, like that there are factual points to it, but there's such ridiculous things going on all around it that you're like, that can't be real, can it?
Yep.
To the point where if you're really asking the question, there's only one response to that, and go look it up.
Yeah. It's like the opposite situation that we had last week when we were talking about like Watchmen.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Where Watchmen, you're like, oh, that's got to be fake
Yeah, that
because
couldn't
I'd
have
never heard
happened.
of that before.
Yep.
Oh, no, that was
Oh,
real.
turns out we bombed the shit out of this black city and then murdered a bunch of people in there because they were being successful. So that's
Yep.
just who we are as a people.
Yep.
So go America, I guess.
America.
Yeah. So I didn't have a problem with like all of that stuff. I thought was really well handled. And god damn it, he's so talented. Just like he's so good. His acting is great. His writing is fantastic. His directing is on point.
I struggle to find any problem with this movie.
Yeah, me too.
The child actors were really good.
You know how much I hate child actors, and they were both really goddamn good.
Yeah.
That's always going to be the weakest part of a movie for me, and they were perfect.
Yeah. All of them, including his little buddy Yorkie.
Mm-hmm.
Yorkie was perfect.
So good. So goddamn good.
What's funny is in rewatching it, because we watched it months ago when it was available on streaming.
Mm-hmm.
We never got around to seeing it in the theater, so we have plenty of time to watch things now. So we're like, hey, let's watch this because we hadn't seen it. And I rewatched it ahead of this recording just to kind of refresh myself on it. His buddy Yorkie, the deliveries he gave, like I could see Taika saying, okay, do it exactly like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could almost see him delivering those lines in that same way.
Oh my god, could you imagine being that age, being coached comedically by Taika? Like, just.
Yeah, that's something you can ride the wave of that for a long time.
And Taika's that kind of dude, too. Like, you can see from the stuff that he's done that, like, he carries people, like, with him. Right? Like, he's got so many people from works he's done, he just jams into other works he's done.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, just out of curiosity, I looked that kid up. His name's Archie Yates. He's got a credit right now for a post-production version of Home Alone.
Macaulay Culkin is 40.
Yeah. So he is I see a lot of names on here. A few of them I recognize. Ellie Kemper is in it. Kenan Thompson.
Rob Delaney.
Yep. Chris Parnell. But he's the character Max, and he's third credited in this list. I'm wondering if he isn't
Macaulay Culkin.
I don't know. The description of this is a married couple tries to steal back a valuable heirloom from a troubled kid.
Huh. Well.
I like that. I like Charlie Yates. His role in Jojo Rabbit was really good. Small as it was a memorable role.
Mm-hmm.
The casting all through the movie was fantastic.
Yeah, no, just across the board was. First off, I don't know how we've gone so fucking long in this recording without talking about Sam goddamn Rockwell.
He's he's perfect.
He's so perfect. He's so goddamn perfect.
Like, and like he's a different character every time you see him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like every time he's on screen, he plays a different character,
Mm-hmm.
but they're all the same guy. Like this throwaway bad guy in this comedy movie has so much depth. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's such a three-dimensional character.
Mm-hmm. Oh, god damn. Yeah, every time he was just in a different. It was so interesting. I mean, so that's a theme that is recurrent in this movie too, because like you see, even Hitler himself, like as time progresses, becomes more and more unstable and unhinged, and like his uniform gets less and less crisp.
Uh-huh.
Like that's a nice recurrent theme where there's like a physical change for all these people that like is super subtle but really progresses with them throughout the narrative, which is so fucking well done.
They do a lot of nice stuff with making Jojo the narrative voice of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not sure, like, as an adult who knows the history, you know that Jojo has some whacked out ideas about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Having grown up and been a child, and like you have some skewed perception of things, and until you are told exactly what's going on, all you can do is kind of piece together the world around you and
Mm-hmm.
make suppositions about it. And Jojo is clearly that kid that he's just trying to figure it out. he's
Mm-hmm.
not being he's not taking everything on face value.
Well, he can't. His dad's gone.
Right. Yeah.
So he's got to be the man of the house.
Yeah. His dad's gone, his sister's gone. Mom is not around. So what's mom doing? Like, I like how we don't know and Jojo doesn't know. So as adults, we can make assumptions about what's going on with mom,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and we're just wrong. Like at first you're like, oh, is mom just out cat in the streets making a living?
Yeah, that's what I assumed. Like from the get go, I was like,
It's a fair
"Hey,
assumption.
times are tough. There's a war on. You got a
She's
kid to raise.
she's a beautiful woman. You know,
Mom's gonna mom, man.
her husband's gone. She's
Yep.
trying to be a good mom.
Mom's gonna make it work.
Yep. And the longer things go, the more
Yeah.
that changes.
Yeah.
That scene where she leaves and comes back with the soot on her face,
Mm-hmm.
like she's his dad. It's like is she now? Then the thought is, oh, is she just mentally unstable? Like, is she just off her rocker? Her husband and daughter are dead. Now
Mm-hmm.
she's stuck here raising the kid. That's that's a reasonable assumption that somebody
Yeah.
would not handle that well. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's Scarlett Johansson did a really good job. And
she
she
did.
and like unlike most other movies, she had a ton to work with here too. And like you can just like in your mind's eye you can just see those goddamn scenes with like her and Taika just like like the shooting went long that day because they were just jacking around to find out what worked and what didn't work. Like
Yeah,
I would watch a movie of just that.
a behind the scenes documentary of how this movie got made would be pretty spectacular.
Mm-hmm. God, her arc was really goddamn good.
Because you look at like that, or I want to see the actual script to see if there was a lot of improv to it. You know, did he let these people run with their characters? Because the characters were so varied and the comedy was different. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
just one style of comedy throughout. You had
Mhm.
some more slapsticky stuff, some physical humor, some of the stuff, the physical humor of Hitler was great. You've got an imaginary character, so like you just
you gotta
leaned into
play
the
with it, yeah.
imaginary nature of it.
hmm
He leaves that one time by just jumping out the window,
hmm And not
running and
only
jumping straight out the window.
is it an imaginary character, it's an imaginary character you loathe.
Yeah, yeah.
When who is Maori and Jewish, was asked about why he chose to play the role of Hitler, he said, "The answer is simple. What better fuck you to the guy? That is perfect. I am
Hey,
all about that."
hey, Becca. I'm playing with the new toy that they've added to StreamYard.
Is that the thing that's just popped up here?
Yeah, I can.
Hmm.
So when people comment, I'm guessing in any of the platforms, it shows up in our chat box in the StreamYard application. Now I have the ability to click on those, and they pop up in the on right on screen.
Hmm.
So when we get these shows where people are on and communicating with us, we can respond more and not have to read everything as it comes out. I think it'll be more helpful.
Oh,
So
that
if
is.
somebody asks a question or what we think, I can pop it right there. So we're responding to something that's right on screen,
Mhm.
which will be helpful if people find this, at some later date.
Hmm.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell was majestic.
He's always majestic. I have to go back through and look at a list of what he's done and find something I hate of his, but that's gonna be a tall order, I think.
Yeah,
That guy only does good stuff.
he does. He does. I remember. Oh fuck! What was the? Trying to think of the name of the movie that I saw him in. That like I really. Is it Confessions of a Dangerous Mind?
Uh,
Is
I
that
tell
the?
you what, in 30 seconds, I will tell you.
Yeah, I think that's the one. I saw him in that, and that's the first place I remember seeing him. I think I, retroactively saw him in things after that. Yeah, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. Um, I may have seen him in some other stuff afterward. Oh,
Mhm.
Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest.
That's probably where I first saw him. Looking back at
Yeah, that's where I
his
first
stuff.
saw him as well. Oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He was
Head
the head
Thug.
thug.
I mean, to be fair, I probably also saw him on some of these episodes of like Law and Order and stuff like that. But the movie that he really stuck out for me that first time was Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, and then later when I rewatched
Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest, it was like, oh yeah, he's in Galaxy Quest also. Yeah, he's so good.
He's so good.
Um,
Fuck Moon.
Moon.
Moon. Ugh. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, so what's really interesting to me is that I actually guess I didn't realize, or I guess I didn't notice this when I watched it, but you're absolutely spot on with the blending of style humor, the humor styles. Like the slapstick, the physical, but there's like also ironic, and like the entire premise itself is so absurd that like I don't know, he jammed so many of those goddamn things in there.
I find Rebel Wilson sometimes sometimes I really like what she does. Sometimes it feels like she tries too hard. Like
It frequently feels to me like she's trying very hard.
it does. I did not get this feeling, that
hmm
feeling watching this. And I don't know if it was just working with a more competent comedic director which that probably was the case.
I think a lot of time her material is fat material,
Yes.
and it is like the first fat joke is usually okay, but then we stick with like each successive fat joke is even of lower quality than like just the normal fat joke, and it's like, oh, come on, we get it. Like,
Yeah. And that did not play into this at all.
yeah, like that wasn't the style of humor, that wasn't the joke, and it was
Nope.
fantastic. Her jokes were a social commentary, which actually I think is where she needs to be. Like, she has the voice and delivery for that style, and that works well for her.
Yeah. I completely agree. Um, the list of acting talent is Stephen Merchant, Alfie Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Alfie Allen was unexpected just because he played such a subdued role. Like he there wasn't much for him, but he
Mm-hmm.
did still stand out.
Yeah, and it was I actually didn't know why he was in this. Like, it just seemed like they could have
Yeah.
gotten anybody to do that, but also, Alfie Allen's not doing a whole hell of a lot.
No, he's not. And it could be just that he wanted to work with Taika.
I mean, honestly, at a certain point in I mean, I'm sure he made enough money from Game of Thrones that, like, he could take on a few passion projects, and Taika is my passion.
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah, the acting talent in this movie is extensive. We haven't talked about Thomas and Mackenzie, and she did such a good goddamn job with the kid Roman Davis.
Yes.
Like, they had such great chemistry together, and and it's such like a weird sensitive topic too. Like, that they perfect. I don't know. He just masterfully spins this with like the right combination of I don't know. Respect is not the word, but like, he handles the topic well.
No, I think there is some respect handled to the topic. I mean, because you have to have some respect for it because you're also poking fun at things that were very hurtful.
Yeah.
Um, but it does it in such a way that shows, like in hindsight, yeah, people probably did say all those things, like all the ridiculous things they said about Jewish people were,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I think I think I would have a different take on it had we not just lived through 4 years of people saying ridiculous things about people just because they felt empowered that they could get away with it.
That's not gonna go away.
It's not going away, but it wasn't the level of being empowered to do it
Is going away.
is different than it was before. Like there was blatant racism for a long time. Then it started to shift to the background. It was always
Mhm.
there. It never went away,
Yeah.
but it wasn't encouraged and empowered the way it was during the past 4 years.
Hmm.
Now, hopefully, it will start going back and being
Back
less
to
prominent.
our normal level of racism,
Well,
which is an improvement.
it's better than it is right now.
I think in some ways our recent history is good for us in that you're right. A lot of what 2016 proved a lot of things to me that I don't think I wanted to believe. And now that I have seen it, I can't unsee it. And it's harder for me to go back. So I hope a lot of other people are also in that boat. I hope it's radicalized a lot of other people. I guess is what I mean to say.
I hope that it has as well.
I
And
mean,
there's, I mean, we've seen some changes of things. We talked about it right at the beginning of the recording that the MLB is including the Negro leagues for the first time, in their stats and everything. That should have been done a long time ago. There was no reason it couldn't have been done a long time ago.
mhm.
It almost feels like people are now empowered to set things right. Now that we've seen just how bad people can be and how bad people are, we see that, hey, this is a problem. We never considered it a problem before, but it's always been a problem, and it feels like people are more aware of things like not including the Negro leagues as part of Major League Baseball as a problem. That's always been a problem. You know what? Now we can feel empowered to do something about it.
Mhm. Yeah, we can
Because
begin to redress the issue.
yeah, we've we let the bad people address their issues, and now we're removing them from
Yeah,
power, and let's address some issues in the other way.
yeah.
Let's set some things right that should have been set right a long time ago. And
Mhm.
hopefully that's the trend we're going to see for a long time.
Yeah. And I
Fingers
mean,
crossed.
you know, Missouri just sent Cory Bush to Congress, and the Ferguson protests that we had here radicalized her, and she's wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually the only time Missouri has done something politically that I'm like, oh, this is a pile of barf. Uh, and I couldn't even vote for her. I got stuck with Ann Wagner, who's a dud.
Yeah, this movie reminds me in some ways of Black Klansman, because we talked about that at the same time, that 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 movie, some of that movie seems so ridiculous,
Yep.
but seeing people say those things, those terrible, awful things about Black people, like in the context of that movie, it could have seemed very ridiculous. But we know from very recent history that that's how a
Turns
lot of
out,
people still think and talk. Um, so while it poked fun at a lot of the things, I think there's still, like, as ridiculous as some of the commentary was about Jewish people and how they're monsters and have wings and all that garbage. Yeah, there was a lot of terrible misinformation about people that they used to dehumanize them so that they could get away with locking them up, pulling them out of society, executing them in the streets, taking them to concentration camps, all of that, all of the horrible things that were done.
yeah, yeah. The comedy in the movie punches up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the big responsible thing that he does in a lot of the movie. I can't. I feel like there was a place where he did something that I was like, maybe I wouldn't have done that. But God, I didn't rewatch the movie. I got busy.
Yeah.
Um, I'll have to think about that. But I don't know. He uses comedy responsibly. He uses comedy in the traditional Shakespearean sense as a lens against society, and not the normal cheap
Right.
jokes.
Yeah.
It's a
Um,
smart movie.
it is, and they do a lot of interesting things, like the first thing that Jojo does. He's getting ready to go for his Nazi weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And he and Yorkie are going off for their Nazi weekend. Best weekend ever. Hopping down this, just skipping down the street. And well, they show that Jojo is a more tame, timid child. And they use the example of the rabbit, the name of the movie. They catch a rabbit, and they were going to have him kill it. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to kill it. I'm as tough as anybody." And he can't do it. But then he's also told that, the rabbit, I think it was Hitler that was telling him that the rabbit, they have to take care of their family, and it's dangerous out there for them, but they still go out into the world. So there is bravery in being timid. There's bravery in hiding, which comes up later in a really interesting way. But then he gets a fucking grenade to the face. Like, it ends up scarred. And like, that was honestly shocking. Like, that they did that. It's like, wait, did he just blow up?
Yeah.
Then they show everybody looking at him, over him, and like gagging and reeling from him. Which I thought was an interesting commentary on some of the horrors of war.
Yeah.
But it also set him in a place where he wasn't around other children. He could interact more with adults, which that was clever how they did that, how they separated him from his peers and kind of thrust him more into the world of all these adults. It also gave him a chance to interact more closely with Elsa.
Yep. Yeah, he had to come up with something to get him to stay home enough to. I mean, because you spend a lot of time in the beginning watching the indoctrination machine work, and that's kind of what Yorkie keeps going. Like, is a good reminder of as time passes, because he's still inside the machine, right? And every time you see him, he's doing carrying around that goddamn fucking grenade launcher, like it's a mortar.
Yeah. I love the sight gag of him, Jojo, and dropping the back end of it and falling and going off and just nuking that building.
So yeah, it was interesting to watch them engage with that machine early, because that was a thing that happened. Like, indoctrinate that youth young, and this is how you do it. Like, get them while they're young.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I love there are so many really good one-liners in the movie from other people to Jojo that he doesn't listen to. Like, if he would listen to them and pay attention, he would see some of the bigger picture things going on that I think that he probably sees but just avoids. Like when they see the people hanging in the town square, and they're looking at them, and Jojo's response is, what did they do? And Mom's standing there with him, and she has this very determined look on her face. He turns his head, and I think she even turns his head back to look at them, and she says they did what they could. And like right there, you're like, oh, there's something deeper going on with Mom here.
Yeah. That's a good goddamn scene.
It's really good, and it's a great line, and like, there's not a lot of words to that whole scene, but ScarJo nailed it. Like she was so good just in those few minutes. Like, I remember the first time I seeing the movie, I was like, oh wait, she's not crazy at all.
No, she's not crazy.
No, there's something else going on here. Um, oh, and another point, Elsa flat out tells him, "You're not a Nazi, Jojo. You're a 10-year-old kid who likes dressing up in a funny uniform and wants to be part of a club." It's like, oh man, that it's so true. And then you think about like the Proud Boys and like all these other uh hate groups, and you wonder how many people just start that way. Like they start just wanting to be part of this group that their friends
Mhm.
are in, and then the indoctrination just keeps going.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Yorkie and Jojo are kind of in the same place at the beginning of the movie, but it's only Jojo's accident that
Removes
doesn't,
him.
yeah,
Yeah.
it pulls him out of that deeper indoctrination.
Yeah, he gets removed from that cycle of reinforcement
Yeah.
because like it's really so it's interesting. I read an article about how like a lot of the same tactics there, right? Like you are thrust in there and like the reward cycle is the approval of
Mm,
like kids that are slightly older than you are. So you're like always chasing the approval of people in the grade ahead of you, but you're never going to catch up. They're always going to be older. So like you keep that cycle going, right? And you can just like chain that shit for 10 years. So I read an
yep.
article talking about how like a lot of these fringe groups that we have now use platforms like online gaming and stuff to start pulling people into like weird fringe shit early because it's real easy to get people uh like when you're playing a game you've split your focus, right? So you're doing something concentrating on this, but like other portions of your brain don't shut off. You just
Right.
not as focused on like what's going on, so you're like a lot more susceptible. You're not more susceptible, you're just not paying as much attention to like how you're hearing things.
Right.
It's a really interesting article, and I fucking couldn't find it the other day when I was looking for it, and I was really pissed.
Yeah. I there are two things that I know go along with that. I mean, one, being a parent of two children, the one thing you see is, if you can hook that younger child on the wanting to be like the older child train. um, One of the things that works really well for kids as they're going through the developmental cycles is things like daycare, because when they're in daycare and they see other kids who are at the next developmental level than they are, unconsciously they want to be there because they start seeing the freedoms afforded to those kids who aren't in diapers, who, like, there's extra freedoms that go along with that, you know so I want to be like that. Even if they can't verbalize it, it's there. The kids that, when they're even younger, when they're crawling, and then when they start walking, like, that's, I want to be like that. And the wanting to be like big kids thing doesn't really ever go away.
Yeah,
It's always there. Well, and I remember
always
in
there.
the 80s, when I was in high school, and there was a lot of information coming out at the time that the Soviets were indoctrinating, trying to indoctrinate the youth of America, trying to get them to be part of the Soviet system, because at the time it was still Soviet.
Yeah,
It was still the Soviet Union. It wasn't just Russia. Um, and they were actively soliciting and trying to get kids who were in the fringe groups. Like, there was, oh, like, there was the whole satanic panic thing about things like D&D, but there was also, supposedly, and I don't know if this is more part of the satanic panic of it, just from the military angle, because I grew up on military bases, but that they were using things like that to get some of these kids who were on the fringe, who were the outsiders, um, and using that to recruit them recruit some of the outsiders into something that they can be part of.
Yep.
Join the club.
And then later, you think, oh shit, was that a counter-indoctrination process? Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta spread capitalism. Do we?
Got that trickle down. Got to get that trickle down,
Yeah.
trickling down.
Yeah, gotta trickle down. Listen, the only way to get ahead in the pyramid scheme is by adding layers under you.
Yep.
So, let's invade someplace. That death scene was intense.
Mm.
That death scene was intense, and all that was in it was a fucking shoe.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was so perfect.
Yeah.
Because he's not paying attention. He looks over and sees that shoe.
Mm-hmm.
You only see his face. Like doing it right at that eye line was just absolutely perfect.
Perfect.
We never see more of her. It was absolutely the best way to do it. The look on his face, and great acting. Just absolutely great acting.
Mm-hmm.
Reaches up and tries to tie her shoe and can't. And it's like, it's just so heartbreaking. Like in that moment, you're like, oh my God, he wants to do this one little thing and he can't. It's like, oh.
And he can't. And also not showing her hanging is like an intense way of showing, like, preserving the dignity of this person who died fighting Nazis. Like like that shit is intense.
It is.
There's so much going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, there is.
God damn it. He carries that goddamn scene by himself too. And he's a small ass kid. That is a big burden.
It is. It is. I want to see him do more and grow beyond this. I hope it's not just this one-time thing for him.
What did he win? Nominated for more awards. Let's see. He won Best Young Actor Actress. Probably deserved it.
Yep.
And he was nominated for a bunch of other stuff and didn't win anything else notable.
So his IMDb credits are Jojo Rabbit and a movie called Silent Night that's in post-production. That's it.
That's it?
That is it.
That is a fucking bummer.
Well, I mean, he made this movie in 2019 and then the world shut down. So
yeah,
maybe we just haven't had the opportunity to see him in more stuff.
Yeah, he's also 13.
Yeah.
All right, kid. Fucking, you're gonna grow up first. Yeah, this kid's got some chops, and I'd like to see him in more shit.
So what's interesting is he's got twin younger siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are in this Silent Night movie, which now I'm going to look more into this. But they were both also characters named Clone in Jojo Rabbit.
Oh yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, that was his younger twin siblings.
This fucking kid, man, is like, if you scroll through the pictures of him on this fucking IMDb site, there's pictures with him with Sam Rockwell and Taika just hanging out at award shows and shit. It's like,
yeah,
God, fucking kid.
Lucky little bastard.
Fucking kid.
Started auditioning at the age of 9.
Oh God.
And then Jojo Rabbit became his first professional acting role at the age of 11.
Jesus. Okay. Can you imagine that conversation with the parents? Like, all right, we're gonna put your kid in this movie, and his imaginary friend's gonna be Hitler.
Yeah. Well, can you imagine the conversation I'm going to need to have with Holden after we're done with this? It's like, man, you need to step up your game. Let's put this 11-year-old
Yeah,
dude.
no shit.
Come on, buddy.
Here's a shoe. Go practice in the yard. Mm. God damn, that death scene was intense.
The ending of the movie kind of surprised me too. Like just how chaotic and crazy it got there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had all those characters come back in small ways. Sam Rockwell's like I want to rewatch it and just rewatch Sam Rockwell specifically and like kind of gather all of his lines because one of the things I noticed was like he knows a lot about Jojo.
Mm-hmm.
He knows a lot about Jojo and Jojo's mom beyond just what he should know. Like
I think the implication about midway through the movie is that he knows
yeah.
what she's up to, and he knows what he's doing.
Well, like, he figures it out when
they're in the house.
When they're in the house, when Stephen Merchant's character shows up and is like the Nazi hunter or the Jew hunter in the house, and yeah, he figures it out really quick. Well, he's like, let me see the papers, and he looks at her papers, and that's clearly not her.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like even when Stephen Merchant comes through, like the implication is he's gonna have to hand him the papers, and the look on Sam Rockwell's face is like, oh fuck. I am done for now.
Mm-hmm.
But he says something to Jojo at the end when he sees him right at the end. He says something about he says, I'm sorry about Rosie, which is his mom's name. You know, he said, like, yeah, I'm sorry to hear about her. Like, and it was very heartfelt, the way he said it. And then he saved him. Like his last act literally was to save him.
Yeah.
No, go home, Jew.
Well, so like the interesting thing, like the subplot there is him and Alfie Allen are gay lovers.
Yeah.
But I don't think they start that way at the beginning of the movie. Like at the beginning of the movie, he's, like a drunk, disenfranchised, wounded war individual. I'm gonna say war hero, but like
veteran.
War veteran, disenfranchised. But like midway through the movie, he kind of gets a little pizzazz back. I think that's the little hot beef injection from Alfie Allen. And then that fucking whatever the fuck he wears when he like sprints in the battle at the end there. Fucking...
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I'm guessing, like I thinking back, I'm guessing he was injured in World War I.
Oh, I thought it was World War II.
Was it?
Yeah.
I guess yeah, because it was right at the end of World War II, so he wouldn't have been.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. He could have been young enough in World War I, because that outfit that he shows up in the end really did feel a lot more World War I than World War II.
It was precious.
Yeah.
It was precious.
It was spectacular.
Mm-hmm. But I like the storyline that's only told by implication as you see him like 3 or 4 times throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like he starts off so disenfranchised and upset, and then like him and Alfie Allen get together somewhere in the middle there. And that's when like he's hiding in the same way that what's her face is hiding.
Elsa?
Yeah, that Elsa's hiding, right? Which is like why when he rolls into the house, he's like, "Oh shit, I know exactly what this is.
Yeah.
So like I like that I like that parallel. Not only because it's Sam Rockwell, who's fucking Sam Rockwell, but like it's just such a good storyline told by implication.
Mhm.
Not it's just so implicitly told. So goddamn good.
I really enjoyed everybody's motivations. Like the motivations were very different, but always felt really honest for the
Hmm.
characters. Like Jojo and his just puppy love crush that he has on Elsa, that he's writing those ridiculous love letters from Nathan that she knows from the first one is
Yeah.
just not true. Like, but at the same time, she's also very hurt by him.
Hmm.
Like she's the first one, especially like that first one, she's really hurt by it. And then she finally tells him at the end that no, Nathan's dead. Like I've been stringing you along this whole time. I knew all along that it was,
Yep.
was you. You weren't as clever as you thought you were.
Hmm.
But she let him do that.
And yeah, and like even though she knew it was fake, also like she is still grieving. Also, like,
Right.
and it's not like she's been in a place where it's been comfortable for her to like deal
Yeah. Well,
living inside the walls of a house.
like you see where she actually starts to appreciate the letters when he sends the second one. He's like, "No, I was just kidding. I really do love you." And like there was something there that she
Hmm.
appreciated hearing those words as if they were from Nathan, even though she absolutely 100% knew they weren't. Like they were comforting to her.
Sometimes you just want to be lied to.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to be lied to.
And she knew full well that she was being lied to,
Hmm.
but it felt good. Like her motivations through all that were really, really good.
Yep. Hmm. Hmm. I like that we didn't see what Rosie was up to.
Hmm.
Like, I feel like we could have gotten real bogged down in some bullshit there, but we didn't. I think that was the right call.
Well, keeping Jojo as the narrative character and
Hmm.
not really understanding what she was up to the whole time, it
Yep.
gave him some plausible deniability for
Hmm.
it that he didn't explicitly see her doing that. I think it would have set up a confrontation that a lesser movie would have leaned into
Yep. Hmm.
when there was no reason for it. Because being a good parent, she kept it from him.
Yep. And she did walk a real tight line of, hey, I gotta take care of this kid, but also shit is fucked up in this country. And like, I'm also a person
Yeah.
and like driven by my conscience to act.
Well, there's the scene when they're having dinner and they're talking about like the state of the war,
Hmm.
and she gets real excited, like, oh, and soon the Americans will be here. And he's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, that would mean we lose. Like that's not good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she forgets.
Hmm. She gets uh, hung up in the excitement of being done with it.
Yeah, man, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand a lot. I want to make plans to go do stuff, but I can't yet. Mm. It's actually worse now with the vaccine because I know the solution is there.
Yeah.
It's just now it's like once they release a trailer for like that last trailer for a movie that you really want to see, and you're like, fuck, this means that we have a month to go before this comes out.
And now it's just waiting.
Yeah, now it's just waiting.
And now I've got my tickets. And I know what seat I'm sitting in the theater on which day.
Yep. It's
and
on my calendar and just...
Now I know how many hours there will be from the time that the movie gets released till the time I get to watch it in theaters, that I have to avoid certain sites on the internet because they're just going to ruin shit for me if I...
Yep. Because that's what the internet is here to do. Ruin shit for me.
Oh, I've noticed a really... And I think maybe I'm just more aware of it because I'm involved with a couple of so I've mentioned before that I'm doing my Sopranos rewatch while listening to the Talking Sopranos podcast. So I listen to the podcast, and like a day or two later, I start seeing all these articles about, oh, this is going on in the world of the Sopranos. And I'm like, yeah, I knew that because they talked about it on their podcast.
Mm-hmm.
There are literally news articles that are just reporting things that were in the podcast. And it's no additional information at all, but like a lengthy news articles about tweets or about
about a show that's 10 years old.
Yeah, it's like, why are we treating this like news?
Yeah.
Holden and I had a discussion the other day about something, and he was mentioning something about news, and I said, you need to be careful where you're getting some of your news sources, because he's like, oh, well, that's news. And I was, what website did you get that from? I don't know. I saw it in my feed.
Okay.
So you have to be really careful.
The article.
Yeah, you have to be really careful about where you're getting the information, because some of it is just, he's like, well, it seemed like a long article. I looked at the article and it seemed really long. And I was like, it seemed really long because some of those websites pay by the word.
Yeah.
And if you actually read the article, the words they use are nonsense. They're just trying to fill up space so they can get a bigger paycheck.
That's how I do everything. Things take me 4 times as long.
Yeah, there's no danger in this causing any issues. At this point, only one person's actively watching the feed. So this is finals week for Holden.
Yep.
And they're not doing traditional finals this semester just because with COVID, things are problematic enough as it is. They're not doing traditional finals. Traditionally, finals are 20% of the grade for the semester. Like, you take your first quarter grade, you take your second quarter grade. Actually, I don't even think the first and second quarter now for them are just demarcations of where the midpoint of the semester is. They don't actually, like, all the grades add up into their final semester grade. Mm-hmm. With the final test that they take literally being 20% of the grade.
Yep.
So they said, look, we're going to let each teacher handle it how they want. There might be a final test, but it's not going to be treated the same way. It's not going to be 20% of your grade, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Fine. Well, he's taking an expository writing class, which they're failing him. He's turned in papers, and the teachers are just not doing justice to these kids. Like, they're letting them turn in papers that are not well written and giving them decent enough grades for it to get by.
Oh, failing him in that capacity.
Yeah.
He is failing.
He's not getting a good grade in class, but also he should be getting a lot worse grade in class based on these papers he's turning in. Like, we tried to help him with this, and it was like, Well, the first step was, well, he had to do a peer review.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we talked about this the other night. Um, so we helped him do the peer review for his friend's paper. It was like, wait a minute, somebody actually turned this paper in? Like it was not great.
Rough.
It was really rough. Um, so then we sat down with him and like, look, you need the best grade you can get. Like every other class, he's getting some gradient of an A, from an A plus through an A minus, depending on which class it is,
Sure.
except for this one. This one is not at that level. So it's like, we are going to help you as much as we can. Like I've been helping him a lot with math, and it's improved his grades immensely. And like I can see he is improving as a student. So it's like, look, we need to start doing this with your papers too, because next year you're going to be on your own, buddy, and it's going to get rough if you're writing like this and go into college. Like we need to shore things up.
We got to tighten this ship up.
Yep. So we start doing this, and it's a research paper that's an argument. So he's got these 3 points that he's got to make, but all the research has been done in the past. We can't add any new research to it.
Yeah, because you're a fucking high school paper. Like,
yeah. It's also due at 9:00 tomorrow morning. Yeah, one of those things. We gotta wrap this thing up. So we start going.
Wrap it up.
We're doing a line by line edit through this thing, and we get to the third paragraph, and I was like, this is a fucking mess. This is not great at all. And he's like, well, we got to fix it. We got to do something. And I was like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. And I streamed together this glorious wave of bullshit that's just intermixed with quotes, that sourced quotes that he's found, and I weave these transitions between these quotes that like my worm tonguing skills were. I tasked them.
A whole tapestry of bullshit was woven.
Oh man, it was pretty spectacular. By the time we were done with it, it was still the weakest argument in the paper. Like there was no way it wasn't going to be, but it was like this confusing mess of words that actually, oh yeah, okay, that sure.
You know,
like if I made a YouTube video just reading that script, I'm sure I could convince some people of the argument.
That's all you gotta do.
40 or 50,000 people easily on YouTube. Yeah.
Listen, sometimes all you gotta do is get through it.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah, we were working on that until 2:30 a.m. on Monday.
Oh my god!
It was due at 9:00 Tuesday morning.
Good Lord!
All three of us. I mean, it was his paper. We got to points where it was like, all right, what do you want the wording to be? Here are some suggestions we could do, but it's your paper, so what do you want the words to be? And Julie and I were going to bed, and like Julie's not, she doesn't stay up that late, and it was 2:30 in the morning, and we were going to bed, and and normally she goes to bed before I do, so we were going to bed at the same time, and we're laying down, and it was like, God damn it, that paper was so good. If he doesn't get at least a B on this paper, there's going to be a real problem here.
Come back full circle.
Because we worked really hard on this paper.
Now you're invested.
Oh, it's, this is like what we did for like all the art project, that like all the, make a model of something, and that's going to be your science project.
Great.
4th grade, that kind of thing. Julie would get so invested in making those projects. It's like, it's okay if it doesn't look perfect. He is 9 years old. It's okay.
But also, counterpoint, it isn't.
Right. but God damn it, he needs to get a really good grade on this. He's got straight A's. He needs to maintain that. He will. It's gonna be fine.
It'll be fine.
Oh,
I do not miss school at all. Just not at all.
nope.
Like, I briefly thought about going back and getting a doctorate, but fuck that. Like,
I briefly thought about going back and getting a bachelor's.
fuck that.
I could, but like, to what
Why?
end at this point?
Yeah, like, why?
I'm very comfortable in my role at work, and
Not gonna make you any more money. It's not gonna fulfill you. Like,
right, yeah. I don't feel like seeking out a new place to work after I do that. So what's the real purpose?
yeah, I mean, learning for learning's sake is a thing, but also I don't need to get a degree for that.
Right. Yeah. No, and I've done that. I've done that within the past year. I went and took some classes on SSRS, the reporting services.
Oh, I have a certification in it. I'm quite aware.
Yeah. Well, and then the world blew up, so and projects blew up, so I never actually got to use it. It's still on my to-do list to build out some SSRS reporting stuff, but I just haven't done it yet. But yeah, that's something I wanted to learn, so I went and took the classes and learned. All right.
Aren't you guys? You're a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Don't you get like a nice Microsoft deal?
We get a nice Microsoft deal for the software and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't that software include Power BI?
I don't know. I don't know.
Power BI is the shit, man. It is.
I've heard that.
Shit.
I've heard that. One of those things I'll need to dig into at some point. Over the past couple of months, I taught myself PowerShell for stuff I'm doing at work.
The mixture between the command prompt and C#.
Hey, you know what?
Oh, I love PowerShell.
Yeah.
PowerShell's great.
I had to take some CSV files and manipulate them in ways that I didn't feel like programming things for.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
open up PowerShell and move columns and okay.
Shit's not complicated. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
like it. It's powerful. It just does its thing. The people in my office, like when we set up this software package we used to work with, like you had to install all these components onto the server, and like if you were missing some, shit would break, but like you never knew quite like which ones they were.
Yep.
So like I scripted the whole thing out into PowerShell, and I'm like, all right, setting up the server is now 2 lines. All you gotta do is like enter the line in PowerShell, and it'll go out to the network and get all the shit, and then install the updates and all this other stuff. Do we really need to do this? Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? Are you gonna sit here and install these components manually? You fuck it up every time.
Yeah.
How long did it... This wasn't a waste of time, was it? Fuck, don't use it then. I don't care.
Right.
But when you have a problem, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna run the script. Like that's what I'm gonna do.
Yep.
Save us both a fucking step.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it.
I did that too early when I started working at this place for them to just accept it. Now they just accept it. Just like, I hate doing these repetitive tasks.
Yeah. I'm at a point where the problem is we have almost as many managers in IT as actual staff because we're so small. I mean, it's just because we're so small.
Yeah.
Like our IT department is like a dozen people total. And well, when you have somebody who does networking, somebody who does software, somebody who does hardware, somebody who does phones. Like very quickly, like there's not that many people left
Yeah.
to do the stuff that, because our managers aren't just managers. They're working. They're like senior staff who have the manager name just because there are people who aren't as senior as they are,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
also manage them. So my problem now is I'm not to that manager level. So I do things that are like, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure.
Mm.
Oh, Tony's report. Don't come on, man.
Just
Tony's report has done the same thing it's done for the last 8 years. Don't tell me Tony's report is wrong. If you put in bad data, then Tony's report is wrong. But it's not because it's Tony's report. It's
Tony's
because
report's
of
still
your
not wrong.
data.
Yeah, Tony's report's still not wrong.
Right.
The report's the report.
Yeah. The
Your
data
fucked up
you
data.
expected out of it is wrong.
Yeah.
That happened to me 2 jobs ago. When I worked at Hunter,
Mm.
they hired me in to work in the marketing department doing report building, even though it should have been an IT position. But IT wasn't doing it fast enough for the marketing manager, so he hired somebody in, and that somebody was me. So I started rebuilding all their reports that were run out of IT, and they're like, "Your reports are wrong. We've been running these reports for 20 years, and your reports are wrong." Turns out that the reports you built 20 years ago were actually wrong.
Yeah.
And you've been using bad data for the last 20 years. We can't tell the owner of the company that.
Well.
Okay.
Oh, don't.
So I had to fudge reports to slowly manipulate them to get them to the point where my reports were the reports of record. I retroactively ran 20 years of reports to show them how bad their reports were.
Oh man.
I had the entire IT department pissed off at me at one point. It was great.
My first job was an internship, and it was in a manufacturing company, and all I did for an entire summer was build crystal reports. Just all I did all summer. So like for 3 months, 40 hours a week, I was just building reports in crystal reports. And like about midway through the summer, and I think this is probably the single best thing I learned in my career, is just like how fucking powerful it is to know shit in a company.
Yeah.
When people are like, oh god, blah blah blah. Actually,
yeah.
I just wish we knew this. And I'm like, I mean, I can find that out. Do you want that? Like, I can get like I know that.
Right.
Like, I don't know it offhand, but like I can know that. Like,
yeah.
You're not making money on this. Don't sell this. You're not making money here. What? I mean, you're not.
Before we change over to some of our cloud platform stuff, our whole HR platform was on premises SQL Server based.
Mm-hmm.
So at one point they cut off my front end access to it. Like, oh, well, you can't have this. Why?
Okay.
Why? Oh, because you don't need that level of information. Wait, you understand that I can, in about a minute and a half, get all the information from the entire database, including all that stuff you're trying to obfuscate from me on the front end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we need those reports from you.
Don't make it harder than it has to be, guys.
All right. Hey, just don't call me when you have a question about the front end. because you don't give me access to it, so that's fine.
Yeah, it's just like this doesn't have to be a confrontation.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the other thing, one of the most important things I think I learned from my boss on this job is the phrase, "What story do you want the data to tell?"
That's a good phrase.
Yeah, it's like the data's there, and it can tell a bunch of different stories. What story do you want it to tell?
Mm-hmm. That's a good.
It was invaluable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. We had a problem when we were quoting things a couple years ago, uh, where I would give them numbers for what I thought it would take us to do stuff, and then they would, in the quoting process, remove 20% of those numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So eventually we got to this point where they kept asking me to do these quotes, and I was like, I'll do this quote, but just tell me what number you want at the end, because I'm not going to put a ton of time into actually doing this if you're just going to make up a number. Well, we want to know what the actual number is. I'm like, well, if you're going to discount it 20%, I'm just going to increase it 20%. Like, if that's how we're going to do this,
Yeah.
like, so why don't you just pick the number and go with the number, and then like save me an hour of putting together all this shit, right? Like, also just go higher. Like, just
Yeah.
just make the number higher. Well, we won't sell as many projects. I'm like, yeah, but we'll make more money in the long run. Trust me. Like,
Right.
and we do. I was right. Turns out.
Yeah. Turns out sometimes, having a higher margin means you'll make more money. You won't kill people in the process.
No crunch. Yep.
Yep. That's where I'm at right now. Just trying to get through my last 2 days of.
End
I've
of
got
year bullshit. Yep.
I got 2 weeks off, so I need to make sure that these projects are in a good place so that nobody needs anything from them for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll work my ass off over the next 2 days to make sure that happens, and then I'll relax.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I've got Friday night to look forward to. Since there's no live music, Trans-Siberian Orchestra is doing a streaming concert this Friday night.
That big
So
ass TV, huh?
yeah, I'm gonna put that big ass TV to good use. We're gonna stream that. We pre-purchased the stream a couple of weeks ago, so we Julie took today off. Burning
Sure.
days at this point. You got to burn a day here
Yep.
and there sometimes. So she took
Mhm.
today off. She went to the grocery store, bought stuff to make junk food for Friday night, and
Hell yeah.
we're gonna have snacks and stream the concert.
Hell
So
yeah.
that's
Party
I'm
over at
looking
the
forward to it.
masts. Party over at the masts.
Yep. Uh, you know what? I was going to circle back to the movie, but there's not really a whole lot else I can think of.
It's really goddamn good.
Oh, there is one other thing that I wanted to mention: the music.
I do not remember the music at all.
There was they used some popular music, like the the intro, the beginning of the movie. So I think they do a little bit of a cold open, and then they do this thing where they play Beatles music, but it's in German, and they cut it over scenes of where they intersperse Hitler giving speeches and girls who look like they're dressed a little more period for the 40s, but they're going crazy for like the Beatles, like
Mhm.
that that frantic cheering, rushing
Yeah.
the stage kind of thing. But
Hmm.
there's that it's set up as if they were doing that for Hitler. The way they're
Yep.
cutting it over the Beatles music, it's really good.
Hmm.
But music shows up a few other times, and it's a couple of pieces of popular music, but in German. And I thought that was clever.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's not period music.
Yeah,
It's not period appropriate, but
Yeah.
doing it in German, I thought was pretty good.
Heroes by David Bowie, performed
Yeah,
by the 10 Tenors.
that was at the finale. They when they leave the house, he lies to her and tells her, "No, we won. Yep, we won. You're stuck here now." And they leave the house, and she realizes, she sees like a Jeep driving down the street with an American flag, and she realizes, and that's when they bust into Heroes, and they start like this dance routine that they go into, which honestly at the end of this felt really earned.
Yeah.
It was good.
Mm-hmm. All right, hot dog.
All right, so that was Jojo Rabbit. Next week we'll talk about Parasite, but we're going to talk about that on Tuesday,
On Tuesday,
22nd.
Martes.
All right. Well, you have a good one. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, you too.